the cell theory, and now we are going to continue with that. Or more than the cell theory, we study some organelles and other stuff, and today we are going to keep going with that. So first thing first, here we have the eukaryotic cell, and as you know, eukaryotic cells are different than prokaryotic cells. One of the differences will be that the eukaryotic cells are bigger and more complex than the prokaryotic cells. Then in the cytoplasm, we'll find a fluid that fills in the cells and includes the cytosol along with filaments, proteins, and organelles, subdependent in the, or suspended, in the cytosol. So now what will be the new structure that we'll have in eukaryotic cells that it wasn't present in prokaryotic cells? So please answer it. Okay, I ask you a question. What is the new part that we don't find in eukaryotic cells, but we find in, that we don't find in prokaryotic cells, but we find in eukaryotic cells? Nucleus, yes. Nuclear membrane, yes. Cytoplasm, no, we have cytoplasm in both types of cells. So the nucleus will be the new structure. So before of that, we need to remember who made every single thing from the beginning to the end. And as you know, we said that God created everything, including the cells and the different type of cells. But in the study of the cell, we are going to see how it's supposed to be the evolve or the evolution of the eukaryotic cells. So in the next picture, you can see right here at the beginning, there is an ancestral prokaryote, and it has DNA, it has a cytoplasm and a plasma membrane, but it doesn't have the nuclear membrane or nothing like that. So now, if you see here in the second picture, the time passed, and sometime later it starts to make it infolding of the plasma membrane. So now we have new structures in the cell, and that keeps going through the time. And in the next case, or next picture, we see here that become the endoplasmic reticulum. Other part start being the nuclear envelope and the nucleus in here. But what happened after many years? The cell will include an aerobic bacteria or heterotrophic prokaryotic, meaning that this is the bacteria, and now this bacteria is part of my ancestral prokaryote. So now it's part of this. And this is aerobic, meaning that it has to use oxygen. Years later, this aerobic heterotrophic prokaryote became a mitochondrium or mitochondria. And this now is the ancestral heterotrophic eukaryote. But it didn't finish or end there. The cell can include other organisms, and right here you can see this green organism that is going into the cell that has already a mitochondria. And this, because it's green, what do you think it is? ¿Qué piensan que es? Es un organismo verde. ¿Qué piensan que es? Okay, guys, I'm waiting for your answers. Estoy esperando por sus respuestas. What do you think that's it? That thing, that green thing. ¿Qué piensan que es esa cosita verde? What do you think is this green thing right here that it's coming into the cell? No, it's not a ribosome. Plastid. Yes, it is a plastid. It is a bacteria. Ribosomes, no, not ribosomes. Plastid. Yes, this is a plastid, and the plastid that is here, it's going to, or it is a photosynthetic prokaryote. Entonces es una bacteria, una procariota que tiene una propiedad fotosintética. Es decir, que el momento en el que ingresa a la célula va a ser un plástido, o más específicamente, al ser de color verde, sería un cloroplasto o chloroplast. So now we have here eukaryotic cells that could be animal and plant cells. Pueden ser animales o pueden ser vegetales, los dos tipos de célula. Y como veíamos en el caso de las bacterias o de las otras células que tenían tres cosas en común, y estas eran la cell membrane, DNA, and cytoplasm. In this case, we are going to say that there are three, or the main characteristics that are similar for both cells. That will be the plasma membrane or cell membrane, the nucleus, because it's the new structure that we have here, and the cytoplasm. Besides that, we need to remember that each cell we have the specific characteristics. So cada célula va a tener características especiales. No todas van a tener lo mismo. Entonces ahí vamos a poder ir diferenciando entre una célula vegetal y una célula animal. So the plasma membrane, we already studied something about this, and we have here that is a bilayer of phospholipids. Remember that the head of the phospholipids are hydrophobic, while the tail side are hydrophilic. Here we have proteins that goes through the cell membrane, and we have here, up here, the carbohydrates, and if they are linked to a protein, will be a glycoprotein, or if they are linked to the phospholipid, it will be a glycolipid. The function of this membrane is control the passage of organic molecules, ions, water, oxygen into the cell, or it can allow things to go out of the cell, like waste, like carbon dioxide, ammonia, and other stuff that our cell doesn't need. And everything goes through the cell membrane. So in the case, now we are going to see the eukaryotic nucleus. And please let me know if you have any questions or if you don't understand something, so I'll be helping you with that. The nucleus of the cell, as you know, the shape will be spherical. The function is very important. It will store and transmit the genetic information for the cell reproduction and regulates the function of the cell. So what we are going to find here, you already know that because we studied. What we are going to find inside of the nucleus? Please answer that. Okay, I'm waiting, guys. Come on. DNA, yes, what else? DNA, yeah, that's the most important thing. So DNA, what will be? So if you see there, we have 4 parts of the cell. What will be DNA? Number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? Okay, remember that the DNA is part of the chromosome. So where do you find it? I have 2 right answers. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. DNA is part of the chromosomes. So if it is part of chromosomes, it's number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4. It is number 2, yes, because chromatin is where we find chromosomes. And remember, chromatin we find in the interphase state, while chromosomes we find in cellular division. You already know that way because we already studied meiosis and mitosis. So the 4 parts, as you see here, we have the nuclear envelope around the nucleus of the cell. Then we have the chromatid here. Here we have the nucleolus and the nucleoplasm right here. I'm going to explain each of them to you so we can do a little review for the ones that we already saw it and for the ones that we are learning it. So we are going to check that. Okay, the nuclear membrane surrounds the nucleus. It's a double membrane layer that separates the contents of the nucleus from the rest of the cell. The nuclear membrane consists of phospholipids or a lipid bilayer. It is like the cell membrane. The nuclear membrane has nuclear pores that allows substances to enter and exit the nucleus. Some of the substances that will go out of the nucleus are going to be the ribosomes. And the ribosomes that we find right in the, or are going to be produced by the nucleolus. Ribosomes genetic material from chemical reaction that take place outside of the nucleus. Because in the cytoplasm we are going to have all the reactions that happens in the cell, like production of proteins, enzymes doing or producing other reactions. We are going to have oxygen or enzymes coming in or going out of the cell, and those things can damage our DNA. And if we damage our DNA, then what is going to happen? Mutation, as we already studied. So what will be some examples of mutation that happens because of genetic material is damaged? ¿Cuáles podrían ser algunas de las mutaciones que se dan debido a que el material genético o ADN está alterado o mutado? A ver, ¿cuáles son las enfermedades? Ok, guys. Recuerden, como dijeron, son mutaciones que pueden ser numerical. Y si son numerical, could be like Down syndrome o síndrome de Down. Puede ser también Turner. Puede ser Angelman syndrome. So tenemos diferentes, so we have different type of illness that can happen because of the change in the DNA. So that's why we need the cellular envelope. Now we are going to see or remember a little bit about that chromatin. Chromatin, it is inside of the nucleus and it will have the DNA and proteins and it will be packed. Remember that we have the histones that is going to form this chain like pearls, and that will be what we will see. And then are two types of chromatin. The one is euchromatin and the other one is the heterochromatin. Euchromatin o la cromatina que va a codificar para aminoácidos y para proteínas, mientras que la heterocromatina no va a codificar ni para aminoácidos ni para proteínas, sino va a tener esta una función estructural. Finalmente, para terminar la clase de hoy, vamos a ver el nucleolo. So, the nucleolus, it's like it has all the machinery that we need to assemble the ribosomal RNA. And the ribosomal RNA it's going to be transported through the nuclear pore into the cytoplasm, where it will become part of the ribosomes. And the ribosomes are necessary to make what? Proteins. Entonces el nucleolo lo que va a hacer es a ensamblar todo lo que necesitamos para producir ribosomas. Primeramente el ARN ribosomal, porque como sabemos los ribosomas están hechos de ARN. Luego que este se ha formado, va a salir a través de los poros que tenemos nosotros en la envoltura nuclear. Y una vez que sale de aquí, tiene que dirigirse al citoplasma y unirse como tal a los ribosomas, para poder nosotros luego formar las proteínas. Caso contrario, no podría darse este proceso. Nucleoplasm. Same thing like in the cytoplasm. Como en el citoplasma hay una parte líquida, en el nucleoplasma también hay una parte líquida. Entonces, en el núcleo también hay una parte líquida y esta parte líquida sería el nucleoplasma. Por lo tanto, la mayoría de las células van a tener estructuras también suspendidas dentro de del núcleo y va a ser una sustancia gelatinosa con una membrana. ¿Cuál es esta? La membrana nuclear, y también al nucleoplasma se le conoce como carioplasma. Okay, so for today we're going to finish with the nucleoplasm and tomorrow we'll see the cytoplasm or in our next class. En la próxima clase vamos a ver ya el citoplasma. Por ahora ustedes ya tienen las diapositivas, entonces vamos a continuar respondiendo las preguntas de las diapositivas y el video quedaría aquí en el YouTube para que puedan observarlo más tarde. Cuídense mucho, chicos. Hasta luego.